Hello everyone!
Hello!
Today we are doing something with watercolor pencils.
Yes, a while ago we had a request, quite a few months ago, we had a request on how to do skin tones with these Bic Aquacouleur pencils, so basically watercolor pencils. We only have the 12 pack here and it took us ages to get to the video because it took a lot of trying around before we came up with something.
Indeed. What you can notice here on the color selection, there is, well, aside of maybe the orange tone, there is nothing that really stands out here as some kind of darker or lighter skin color. Those are more like primary colors, like some lighter shades, some darker shades, but nothing that is actually in any way, shape or form human-like.
Yes.
So the idea is now how to get different skin tones out of these without actually having special pencils, respectively colors for it.
Yes, so I'm just going to take them all out here. So this is all of the colors that you get. So it's a really odd selection and I have been trying around and I have finally found a way to get skin tones that can be acceptable. I've managed to come up with 4 shades. If you have any suggestions on how to improve the shades or how to get even more shades, feel free to leave it in the comments. But again, this is only about the 12 pack of these particular ones over here. So I've drawn 4 really stylized heads here. So the first combination that I have managed to come up with is actually for one of the darker skin tones, is taking this purple as well as this brown shade. So what I do is that I color with the purple just a little. Now this could completely fail because I am using the Deco Time paper here. I didn't try this beforehand, so I apologize if this ends up looking really weird.
But hey, improvisation.
Yes, so I didn't have time today to check if this will all work. So basically I'm doing mainly where the shadows would be with the purple, and then I'm just doing some light purple in different areas so that we can hopefully blend them together. Then I'm going to go in with the brown and go a little bit dark on top of the purple in some of the areas, but not too much because then it's going to get a bit muddy. So now I'm basically just coloring lightly with this brown shade. Sorry if I'm not talking very much while I'm doing this.
We're also trying out a new thing here, since everything would be like very small with the way we're normally filming. I'm basically holding like a different camera. So if some of this is like really shaky, then that's not your setup, that's my hands.
I'm sure
not being able.
I'm sure you're doing good because I drew these unfortunately a bit too small. But I have done my best. So that over here is purple plus brown. So let's see if we can blend this. So my test on the side here, which I have off to the side. There we go. So you can see there is quite a bit of an abundance of purple there. Because if it's not brown enough, then you can always wait for it to dry and then you can color over it again. And then you could try reblend, which sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't.
And if you're at that bump, that was our cat feeling the need to jump around behind us.
Yes.
As cats do. As soon as you're busy, they are coming out of their hiding and they're trying to do weird things.
Yes. Okay, so that is the darkest I managed to go, and that's using purple and brown. So the next one we are going to do, again, is with purple, and we are going to use orange. So again, I'm always just visualizing but visualizing that the light is coming from this direction. So that means things on this side is going to be darker because it's away from the light. So again, I'm going in with the purple. I'm not being very neat about it because again, we're going to wet this to blend it together. So I'm just being very sparing with it right now. Then I'm just going to maybe go a little bit dark over here. And then over here where the purple was the darkest. And then over here I'm just going to go fairly light, just so that the orange is just basically just covering the paper. Okay, I'm not also being very neat because again we're going to blend this with water. So again, the skin tone here is very orange, but if you have a character maybe standing in a very colorful picture, maybe with some sunlight, then you would get saturated colors like this.
If you ever did anything with color theory, you know that the actual color that you see is very much dependent on also the color of the light that's coming from.
Yes.
That's why we are usually filming with a slightly more warmish light, so it looks more natural like the sun, and not the bluish light that this spotlight here tends to make, which looks more like, I don't know, something you would film in a kitchen.
Yes. Okay, so this one here is purple and orange. So I mean, again, these are not lifelike skin tones. This is just the best that I could come up with. Again, if you have a better way of mixing these particular colors together with this particular kind of pencil, then you can leave your suggestions in the comments below. So for this one, we're going to be doing some pink and orange. So again, now I'm going to use the pink basically in place of the purple. And it's going to alter the color quite a bit compared to the one over here where we had the purple and orange. So we got like a pink man over here. I'm going to add some of this orange. Again, I'm not being very neat. I'm also trying to do this quick so this video doesn't go on too long. Because people tend to not like long videos.
Well, that's also good for me, because that means I do not have to hold this camera steady so long.
So I'm going to put some of this here, and now I'm just going to blend it together. Again, if you go into the pink first and draw it into the orange, then it will go a bit lighter, but if you go into the orange first and then the pink, then it will go a bit darker.
Which are, I think, very helpful hints, because especially me, when I do something, you know, I keep saying this, I'm not very good with watercolors and the likes. It always depends on the way that you're doing things sometimes. If you do things in a different order, you get different results, and
yeah, it's like
that can become very unpredictable sometimes if you have no idea what you're doing.
it can. So I went into the pink first and then drew it into the orange, but if I went into the orange first, it would go a bit darker. So that's just something to think about. Alright, so for the final person here, I am going to be using orange and yellow. So orange and yellow. So now I'm using the orange in the place where I would normally use the purple or pink. So again, like I keep emphasizing, these are not realistic skin tones at all.
No, but I mean, we're not doing like lifelike art here.
No, this is very stylized, and this is the best I could come up with. Especially for the dark shade there, I was a bit lost. And that was the best I could come up with without it looking very muddy.
I mean, come on, when you look at especially old school anime, look at the amount of people you have with purple or blue hair.
Yeah, those were the days.
And it still looked like logically good, so why not? As long as it makes sense.
Yes. All right. Let's do this as well. So I'm going to put some orange here and some yellow here. And then draw the yellow into the orange first so that the orange doesn't overpower the yellow. So that's basically the best I could come up with when it comes to the skin tones. If you have any suggestions, that would be very helpful. Because this is a very limiting set that we have here. I don't even know if they make these anymore. I mean, I bought these ages ago.
Well, I mean, we've seen similar ones in the shop the other week, but I mean, they were constantly rebranding things, so you can never be sure if what you're actually buying is still the same thing that you bought like 10 years ago.
Yes. And the only thing that I could probably suggest is you need to be careful with blending. Maybe if you think, oh, I could get a darker skin tone if I use black, I would advise against it, because then it's going to really muddy the color a lot. You're best trying to mix maybe a blue with the brown, or some of the purple with the brown like this. I don't know. That is just something you'll have to try. But yeah, that's all I can really say for this video this week.
Well, I do not have much to ask because you are more experienced with this kind of thing, but I mean, it looks good. Again, we are not trying to do like hyper-realistic art here. We're trying to do like stylized art. I mean, what you drew there looks very much like an old Gorillaz video, and I think in such a context this works very well.
Yes, because that's like one of my drawing influences. So I could not help but just draw like that, because, I don't know, it's just fun to draw that way.
Well, and I mean, that's the main thing.
Yes, because this was the test ones that I did a few weeks ago. This paper is not actually for watercolor, but I must say it's actually held it really well and it barely crinkled. This is a cheap sketchbook that we bought at Action. I think one of our first art hauls.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, this one just lies around and it gets used every now and then for random stuff like that. I mean, that's where we did the wax crowns, I think. But yeah, if you have any suggestions for this particular 12 pack of watercolor pencil crowns to get skin tones, feel free to leave it in the comments, and then potentially we could revisit this in the future.
Yes, also if you want to see, or if you would like to know how to do certain things, stuff that can be maybe figured out by us and we can show our findings, just leave it in the comments. If you like this, leave us a like. If you didn't like it, also tell us why you didn't like it so we can go better next time. And thank you for watching. See you in the other week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.